forget. You might be questioning, like, why are these calls so important? Like, why do I need to be here every Monday? Because these are the calls that really can help you create a breakthrough in your life. Like, I'm not kidding, guys. These are the calls that help you have a breakthrough, because you can learn from somebody else what they've done, but you can learn more about their story. And I think that far as more than what they can teach you on the strategy, on the skill set, on the mindset, is their story that serves as inspiration, that you can do it too. It wasn't until I heard a specific person 3.5 years ago that I had a breakthrough in my life. I heard the story of a powerful woman. She's a female trader. And not only did I, ended up learning from her, but hearing about her story and what she had to go through to become, that trader, and plus being a woman, so all my women here, you guys know what I'm talking about. It truly ignited a fire in me. So this calls are for that. And today we have 3 top educators here in Akashics. We literally have of different markets, so I love it. We have a Forex, indices, binary options, top of the top, guys. These 3 gentlemen, they've been crushing it, like absolutely crushing it. I'm so proud of them 3. And what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and, give them some space to introduce themselves. You might know them, right? Because you might help on their sessions. But if you don't know them, you're gonna learn about them today. And I just want you guys to obviously say your name, share a little bit about your story, and you guys can obviously pass it on to the next. So whoever wants to start, Jeff, we can start with you. Then you pass it on to Dueno, and Dueno, you can pass it over to Stopwatch. So let's go ahead and start. I think you can unmute yourself, Jeff.
Yeah, I can. So thank you, Anna, for the introduction. And again, I want to thank Claudia for all the amazing work she's been doing. And you too, Anna, you've been amazing. You've been a blessing, here in the Akashic. So I want to thank you too. Hey guys, my name is Jeffrey Beausoleil. I'm 24 years old. I'm a French educator here on the platform. So if you're wondering why I have this beautiful accent, it's because I'm from Montreal, Canada, which is a French part of Canada. So I'm 24 years old. I started trading 4 years ago. And just to tell you a little bit about my story quickly, I wasn't always in the finance world. When I went to college, I studied journalism. And when I realized what journalism was, and when I realized that I wanted to be my own boss, I quickly moved into finance, because I saw someone, and I mean, most people, when they start Forex, that's what they see. I saw someone with the McLaren that I wanted, and he had amazing results. And I was like, okay, so what is it? It must be easy. If he's able to do it, it must be easy. So I did it, and then it took me, a few years before I started to really get profitable and to get to where I am. And I was born without my right hand and my right foot. So if you see me in my sessions, don't worry, it's normal. I didn't lose it somewhere. It's always going to be like that. So I'm missing my right hand and my right foot. But that gave me, the mindset that I have today of never giving up and always pushing to get to the results I want to get to. So that's a bit of my story quickly. I don't want to take too much time. So thank you guys for being here, and I'm excited to be with you for the next hour. So I'm going to pass it to Dueno.
Cool. Thank you so much, Jeff, for that. Wow. It's so inspirational. I think just before I introduce myself, just to tie in with that, it doesn't matter where you come from, what you've been through. If you know where you're going and you know what you want to achieve in life, then you can make anything happen, right? So welcome to everyone on the call, showing the dedication, showing the love, and being here to better yourself. I'm all the way from South Africa. They were the lions and the elephants roam the streets with us. No, I'm just kidding. They're in the bush. I'm in the city. But it's awesome to be on the call with you guys. I'm 27 years young. And I started my trading journey at the age of only 23 years old. So it's been a long journey for me. It's been a long time in the market, and I kind of didn't get introduced to the market in a way that I think most of you guys get introduced, and having the privilege to learn the right stuff from the right people straight from the get-go. I had to kind of lose myself in the process and go through some growing pains and some adversity because I trusted the wrong people and, got scammed through multiple platforms, etc., etc. But we here to teach you guys exactly what you need to know about trading, how to become successful, how we were able to become successful in this industry, and also understand that age is just a number, right? If you want to do it, if you put in the work, if you trust the process and the journey, you can make that happen. So I hope you guys are selfish tonight. Take it all in. Be here for yourself. Take notes. Listen to the educators. Listen to what we have to say. And yeah, you're going to completely crush the game. Mr. Stopwatch, it's your turn, sir.
I was listening to you guys be amazing, and I was caught up listening. I was excited to just be a auditory person for a moment. But for me, yeah, I'm stopwatch. This probably some of you guys probably heard me. This is my third time here. But if you don't know, I live in Florida. I'm originally from New York. Um, what about me that's interesting? Let me see. Originally, originally my background was I was a real estate investor. I started out buying properties. I bought some properties, fixed them and flipped them. I did the whole HGTV thing, right? And then what happened was ideally that I was overworked. I didn't like doing it. I was dealing with adults and treating them like children. And it was a lot of work. The pay was great, but I grew up with nothing, right? So like I grew up from the Bronx, no one bedroom house full of people, right? So like for me, anything that wasn't that was just a little more than that, I would have been satisfied. So when I started making money in real estate, I realized that I wasn't happy. And so I decided that I wanted to look for something else. Around the same time, I saw a good friend of mine who's also an educator here, Ness, cross boundaries that at first I wouldn't acknowledge because I was making more money than him in the beginning. And because he started lapping me, I decided I was going to pay attention. And then yeah, I've been refining my craft ever since. If you know me personally, you know that I have an obsessive personality when things with certain things, and I guess that's probably going to be one of the biggest things that's helped me get to where I'm at. I don't believe that things are determined, right? So like with real estate, when I first started getting started, I remember people telling me that you needed money or you needed to have a big network. And I remember if Champs was here, who's another educator, he'll tell you like when he was one of my old partners, he'll tell you when I first got started, I had probably like $30 to my name, and all I had was a big vision and good words. I had a suit that I bought from a thrift shop, and I would go out and raise money so that I can do what I wanted to do. And then from there, I created this whole big business or whatever the case may be. So I was doing pretty good. And then now I have better months now than I did doing real estate because my profits will normally come after 3 to 6 months. Um, so my profits will come way later on. And so I was putting in all this work, all this, and now I have the same amount of income with less time. And so the reason why I say all that is the following. When people tell you that something is impossible, you can always make it possible. When I first started trying to learn how to trade, I thought it was a scam. Then I seen people do it. And because I'm obsessive and because I think that there's nobody on earth that's better than me, if I see anybody being like actually able to do it, then I know I could. And that's kind of how I ended up here. I saw Ness do it. I know him and he's not better than me. And then I ended up here. Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that you said that because, I think that, today's topic is very peculiar, like when we saw all the topic, we were like, okay, what? But it really it goes hand in hand with what you just said, I'm not perfect, but I have a big vision. And I think that, following the topic that we have, like how to stay on top and, ahead of the masses and like, ahead of market trends and all of that, especially with the industry, with trading, it really just starts with a vision. Like everybody's going to doubt you at the beginning. Everybody's going to tell you that, you're in like la la land and that you're not, thinking straight, that's not going to work. But our vision is higher and is much stronger than the comments of other people, like they don't pay my bills, so why would I listen to what they got to say? And most importantly, why am I going to listen to somebody that doesn't have what I'm looking for and doesn't have the results that I have? So I love that you said that. And I think that, that's crucial for all of our development, like, as educators, as leaders, as traders, like every single day, having that vision very like present, guys, because just like Stopwatch said, like, this is not easy. Like if it would easy, everybody would do it, like it's all about the vision that you have and how big of a vision is it? Like, is it worth it enough? Like, are you willing to go to war for it? Like, are you willing to every single day, like lift yourself up when the situations that are arising are not the best, like where the markets are telling you stop and no, and like this is not for you, but your mind keeps telling you like, let's do this, like it's just a bad day, it's not going to be a bad year. So yeah, I mean, talking about today's topic, right? Like maybe we can start off where, you know, about the vision. We can emphasize a little bit more on that, on the vision side of things. But what would you guys say that, you know, it's something that defines for you, like, how do you stay ahead in the game? Like, how do you stay ahead in the game? Like, whoever wants to go first, you guys can go ahead and obviously go, but I want you guys to emphasize, I'll give my opinion at the end on how I stay ahead of the masses, because this is something that everybody does. Like, at the end of the day, everybody at some point, they came across something of trading, they came across something of investing, they try it out, it doesn't work, and they leave it behind. But how do you stay ahead of the game? How do you stay ahead of the masses? Like, what do you do that not everybody else is willing to do, right? Maybe you guys can share a little bit about that.
I'll go first. Somebody want to go? Dana, you want to go? You can go.
No,
I'll
you
go
go, you go, you go.
all right. So for me personally, right? I believe that. So it's gonna sound either arrogant or egotistic, but I don't care. This is who I am, right? So, for me, it comes down to, I believe that majority of people suck, right? In terms of like whether they're traders, whether they're real estate agents, it don't matter what they are. Majority are just trying to do just enough to just get through, right? And so if I tend to stay, what I tend to do is I like to analyze everything to like, for example, crypto, right? This is a perfect example, crypto. So in crypto, if a majority of people are telling me to buy something, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. It just doesn't make any sense to me to do something that a majority of people are doing when I know majority of people are going to fail at something. And so it's the same thing. And so that's kind of one of the ways that I use it to stay ahead. And I also tend to believe that if I didn't come to that conclusion myself, then it's not valid. And I know it sounds super egotistic and everything. I get it, but for me, it's worked, right? So I I I just don't believe that like when it comes. I think that when it comes to the masses, the only thing that I use it for is for data. I want to see what they're doing, so that way I can try to do the opposite. I believe that I am a contrarian, and so that's how I manage that. So I leave it to you because I felt like I was rambling.
No stress. I think it's very perfectly said. And they always say, don't mistake my confidence for arrogance, right? And that's exactly what you also need to stand by yourself, and you need to trust yourself. And if you don't trust yourself, how can you expect people to trust you, right? So I think for me, how you stay ahead in the game is, it comes back to a saying, and we've all seen Usain Bolt run the 100-meter race, right? And he never looks left and he never looks right, because he knows where he's going and he knows that he has to cross the finish line. And I think what I have found in my trading journey is, the moment I stopped deviating and trying to see what this guy is busy with, and derailing my focus, that is when I started seeing my trading go downhill, and where I started moving backwards. And I think most people always tend to chase shiny objects, different strategies, different ways of trading. And if you get into a specific style of trading and you get into a specific group of people, don't think that the grass is green on the other side. It comes down to sticking to the process, trusting yourself, trusting the process, and putting in the constant work and mastering that specific thing. And I think that's how I've managed to level up in my career, is cut all the noise and just focus on myself, focus on what I know, what I've been taught, implementing that. And don't think that there's something that you maybe don't know, or this guy is doing something that I need to find out what this is, and he needs to teach me something different, because that derails you every time. And I don't know if Jeff maybe wants to add something on that.
No, I completely agree with both of you guys and what you've been saying. What I would add is that for me, when I was a student, when I was learning, one thing that helped me a lot was like Bueno said, is stay focused on one thing. But the difference between me and another person is that people could rarely, when it comes to studying, outstudy me. I would spend days and days and days studying, and I feel like even right now, as an educator, I still study my craft. I still practice my craft. I still backtest my craft. Okay, because without that, the day you feel, I don't know how to say it in English, not complacent, but the day you feel comfortable is the day that the market is gonna, bring like some storms on you, and it's gonna humble you,
That's true.
and that's one thing that I truly believe, is that, to stay ahead of the mass, you need to stay on top of your game. You need to stay on top of what you're doing. And also, I'm also always, without deviating from what I'm doing, I always try to stay up to date with what other peoples are doing. So right now, if you guys are on my sessions, because I do bilingual sessions now on my session. Usually it's just French, but like today was just an English sessions, because there were more people that spoke English. I think it was like one French person that was bilingual. And today, because I know what I'm doing, I'm trying to learn something else to help people that might not understand my strategy. So another way for me to stay ahead of the game and ahead of the trends and everything, right now I'm learning ANA strategies, because there's similarities with what I'm doing. And by learning her strategy, maybe someone that cannot understand what I'm doing in French might understand what she's doing, but in French also. So that's another thing I do. Without, I'm still focused on what I'm doing. The main analysis I do on my channel, on my live session story, is the same I've been doing since the beginning. But I'm always staying up to date with what other people are doing. And yeah, I feel like, if you stay ahead, if you outwork other people and still learn every day, you're always going to be ahead of the mass. Always.
I love what every single one of you guys said, because it's really the truth, and this conversations, we're just speaking the truth, guys. And sometimes confronting the truth can be a little like, some people like it, some people don't like it, but let's be real. A lot of people come into trading. They look at, like, for example, like Dueno said, the grass is greener on the other side. They jump from thing to thing to thing, thinking that everything's going to work because they just want to make money fast. And the people that have that mindset are not staying above the masses. The masses do that. Like they go ahead and they look for the shiniest thing that's going to get them the fastest money right quick, right then and there. Because that's what people want out of the market. They want money fast, right? They just come into trading for money. Like, just talk to 99% of people, and the reason why they started trading is because they want more money. And that's not bad. That's not bad at all. But wanting money is not going to get you and pull you through the hardships that you have to become a pro trader. Like, I'm sorry, but it doesn't. Like, you can make all the money in the world and be the unhappiest person alive. So it really doesn't come back to money. It's like, for example, what Stopwatch said, his obsession, like, it's because he doesn't quit. His vision for himself is too big. Forget the money. He never spoke about money there. He spoke about his vision as a person. For example, Jeff spoke about staying a student to the game. Guys, Jeff hops on every single one of my sessions. He messaged me every day. Like, he is a student to the game, even though he's in the position right now to educate. You never stop being a student. I never stop being a student. I learn every day. I learn from Dueno every day. Like, ask Dueno. Like, when we first started, I was seeing how he sees the market. I'm like, and I've been implementing some stuff that he actually teaches on my trading, right? And what he said about, you being that person that are you willing to do what other people are not willing to do? That's what staying above the masses mean. That for me, it is everything, because you're willing to do what most people are not willing to do. And the 95% of people that come into this industry, they want fast money. Why do you guys think that only 1% make it? Because the 4% that remains, they're people that have results, but not consistent. And you're not a profitable trader until you have consistent, steady results where you can quit your job and you can do this full time. Right. And we're here to share the truth with you guys, because these are conversations, like I said, that you're not going to hear anywhere else. You're not going to have people tell you how things are, because maybe they don't want to hurt your feelings, and we don't want to hurt your feelings. Right. But we want to be honest with you guys, because this is what we had to go through in order to, be where we are. And I saw the question on the chat. That's what staying ahead of the game means. Like this right here, what we're doing. We're discussing, hey, we're not willing to do what everybody else is doing. We're going to be different. We're going to do things differently, because if everybody else is doing it, that means something. Makes sense? You got to be willing to do the things that people are not willing to do. That means studying overtime, being overly obsessed with mastering your craft, not perfecting it, mastering your craft, right? That's what staying ahead of the game means, right? So I hope I answered your question on that. But can we dive in right now, guys, to, what are some things, because I loved what Jeff said about studying, and nobody outworks him on studying, but Jeff, I think I do. We gotta make a competition now. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But what would you guys say that you do, right? Because, for example, this past class that I did on Sunday, I was telling all my students, like, and I saw one student, his name is Oscar. He's probably here, or if he isn't, Oscar, hello. Oscar has been with me for a year now. Like, he saw me the very first time that I became an educator, and he's like, he just came back again to my sessions. And it's so crazy that, I was saying yesterday, and I was talking about a recovery that XPX did, right, on the monthly time frame. And I've been speaking about that specific recovery, okay, since a year ago. Like, I've been speaking about it. I've been already staying ahead of the game, because I knew that, following obviously my technical analysis that I did a year ago. But those are things that I have previously done to stay ahead of the game, like what could potentially happen, what trends, what can market potentially do. What are some things that you guys do, like in terms maybe back testing, that you guys can give some tips to everybody here of what they could do to stay ahead of, market trends, of what could potentially happen next, following old market structure, old price action. Maybe you guys can pick up on that and just emphasize, what you guys do to stay ahead of the game in the markets, right? Like studying wise, marking up your charts. What do you guys do to do that?
I'll start because I trade Jeff and Dueno's trade so it's similar platforms. So I'm the only binary guy here, so it's a little different. For me, what I would say is I forgot the question. I was so devoted to answering the question that I completely forgot it. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
So the question is like, what do you do to study the market and stay ahead of the game in the market? Like, what do you do to like every day be prepared for the entries that you take? Like, do you do a back test every Sunday? Do you do a back testing every now and then? Like, what do you do overall to study the market and be ahead and be prepared?
So for me, and this might be a little different. You might, I don't know, but I tend to, when it comes to preparing to trade and things of that nature, I'm not one that, because I trade shorter time frames, so I'm not one that's constantly letting all the. I don't hoard information, right? So I have a very simple approach when it comes to trading. My biggest philosophy for that is understanding that I trade binary and not forex, right? I like, that's the biggest preparation that I have. I think that if I look at the binary charts like a forex chart, I make more mistakes. Understanding the difference between what it is that I'm doing. So that's the first thing I'd like to do, is I like to understand that I'm trading binary in this moment. So I need to be looking for opportunities that are going to be confluential in binary terms, not forex terms. Why? Because and then it's understanding all the outcome, like all the factors that make up what I need to know before I get in. I need to understand that I don't just need to be able to predict the direction. I need to be able to predict it in a time frame. I need to know why. So then it's, for me, the simplest way to say that is just hoarding trying to get as much information about what I'm going to be doing so that I can create a proper plan so that I can get through it as easy as possible. I believe that if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So before I start trading, I look at how many trades I need to take to hit my goal. That's the first thing I need to know. Then I need to know how much money I'm risking to get to that point. Then from there, I need to go and see, all right, well, is the market, it's because with binary, I like to teach people that it's all a probability game. Understanding that certain times you're going to have probability that works more in your favor and other times going to work more out of your favor. So it's understanding all the factors that I can control, so that way I can try to control them as well as I could, so that I can get a more desirable outcome. The only time that it becomes hard for me to have the outcome that I'm desiring is if I'm not prepared well enough. So hold on. Somebody said I am a coach to that, so this is new to. Oh, hold on. Let me what he said. I wonder, because he comes from our background. Hold on. So this is new to me, but I want to learn this whole new. What do y'all think I should start? I think that you. All right. So I'm gonna answer this. I know this is deviation, but he comes from our background, so I'm gonna tell you, like I would tell myself when I first got started. You don't know which one you're gonna be good at until you try them, right? But that doesn't mean that you need to master every single one of them. I would tell you, just like a pool, you want to dip your toes into some of them, see which one is the more favorable one, and then you want to go from there. I'll give you a perfect example. When I first got started, I was focused on Forex, but Forex, it wasn't that I couldn't do it. I just didn't have the patience to do it. It was it was a triggering thing to try to get good at that. But binary, I picked it up relatively quickly. Does that mean that you will pick up binary and have a struggle with Forex? It doesn't mean that, because everybody's wired different. So you need to figure out which one is going to be your best vehicle. I would recommend just testing each of them, see which one you like, and then go from there. If you try to learn them all at one time, I mean, if you try to master them all at one time, you'll probably won't master any of them, and it'll cost you more. It'll cost you more progress. It goes back to what Duino said. You don't want to be looking around and trying to do everything. You want to become a master at one thing. So yeah, I hope that answered you,
100%.
Bettina.
You definitely did. At the end of the day, guys, you know, binary, for example, I started with binary and I didn't have the patience for binary. So now I trade indices and Forex. So everybody's different. I love what Stopwatch said. Like, you just have to, like you said, put your feet, see which, you know, you like most and what works best for you and your personality at the end of the day. Because you do really marry the markets, you know, in some way, somehow, you know. So you're gonna marry binary, you're gonna marry Forex. So next up, you know, you can if you can emphasize a little bit on what you do, you know, to stay ahead of any market trends.
100%. I think the most important thing about this is understanding that we need to train our eyes to see certain things in the market. And the only way you can do that is always spending time on it, always familiarizing yourself with the patterns, familiarizing yourself with the movement. So what I like to do is, and this kind of spreads the workload, because you, at the end of the day, it has to be fun, right? You want this to be fun, and you don't want to sit there and dread the fact that I need to go and study, I need to go and backtest, I need to go and, if that's the mindset you have when trying to master your craft, it's probably not going to be for you, right? Exactly like Stopwatch said, you know, if you don't think this is going to be for you, most people won't make it. That's why only 1% of the people out there are successful traders, because those 1% of the people, they put in the work. They don't just expect everything to fall in their lap. So what I do is every weekend, whether it is a Saturday, whether it's a Sunday, I want to look at only that last week price action. I want to see why something didn't play out, why I maybe got stopped, what levels were reached, where in the previous months we tested the same levels, and just familiarize yourself with that week and literally only study 5 days of price action and just see how the market moved and how the candles flowed and where the liquidity was taken and where, you know, all these different things tie in. Journal what you see, and next week you do the same thing, and the week after that you do the same thing, and it's going to become like a norm for you. You're going to start seeing things, then, because the thing is, the market is fractal, right? And price always repeats itself, history always repeats itself. So you're going to start seeing similarities in the market where you come on a specific day, you're going to be like, wait a minute, I've seen this happen already. I identify this XYZ, and you can reference that back to the days that you've back tested. But if you lack on training your eye and putting in the work and putting in the back testing, it's going to be like anything in life. If you're going to lag to put something in, there's going to be a lag to get anything out of it. And I hope that helps.
Oh, guys, Dueno just literally read my mind. Like, he spoke my mind. Like, that's exactly what I do too, because, you know, price action can never be wrong. And I've always told you guys, for the ones that hop on my sessions, I always tell my students, like, the price action is always there. It's never going to go away. It's not going to lie to you. It's not going to make something up. Like, if there's something you can rely on, is definitely price action, market structure, old. Like, it's always there. You can go back in time and you can see the market while the recession in 2008, like the market on 2015, 16, where there was like a lot of like the recession, like not the recession, the economy was like very like on hold, like it wasn't growing. It was just like kind of like consolidating. Like, you can see all this stuff because of price action, and you can study it over and over again, and you can identify patterns, and you can be prepared, because guys, usually history will repeat itself. I've been speaking about the recovery of the market that's happening right now, and it's happening in front of my eyes a year later after I've been speaking and talking about it. with proof. Not speaking because, oh, it's gonna come up. Everything that comes out must come up. No, I've been stating it because of what I've been able to to study, to get about every single time that I went and back test market, the market and the price action. So I love what you said, Dueno. Literally exactly what I do. That's no wonder. Like we trade very similar, yet we have different eyes too. And that of fixing your eyes on the market, guys, like you want to get to a point in a level. And Dueno said this on a master class that we did together on May 29th. He said, I got into the point where I can open my charts and I can already identify a zone without even having to draw any lines or anything, because I've already fixed my eyes in the market. And when I started trading, guys, just a quick story before I pass it to Jeff. When I started trading and I saw, you know, the female trader that I learned from, like she was marking up with, like, she already had everything marked up in her mind. She was just boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, okay, wait. I'm still in like the first word you said. And in less than a minute, she had all this multiple analysis lined up and this and that. And I'm like, how? Like, how fast did she, like, how can she have done this so fast? And as I started to progress in my journey, I saw how my eyes were just trained, and they would pick up stuff that at the beginning I couldn't see, but as you continue to grow, you're going to see, right? So Jeff, what do you have to say about that? What is your opinion on everything?
I gotta say that it's gonna be hard for me to say something that is gonna be, you know, add even more value to what you guys just said. So I mean, that was amazing. But what I do personally when it comes to back testing and trying to stay ahead of everything when it comes to back testing is, it might sound like a lot, okay, but that's what I've always been doing. Every single day when I sit down in the morning and get in front of my charts, I erase everything every single day. And then I start again. So I start with the daily, I start with the 4 hour. Sometimes I add some structure on the 1 hour. So like nothing to like, no, like, I just like want to see, I just want to know where the market is going on in 1 hour. Then I do the 15 minutes. And that's something I do every single day. Okay. And that's what I do personally. And I feel like when it comes to back testing, there's so many things you can do, but if you don't have like a goal in mind of what you're looking for when you're back testing, you're just doing, you're just, looking at the charts for looking at the charts. So when I back test, I like to back test from 8 a.m. to 12 to noon on Eastern time, my time, because that's when I look at the charts. That's when I trade. So let's say, I go back 2 weeks. So I remember that 2 weeks ago, I had a win and a loss on the same day, let's say. Well, I go back to that day and then I start again, daily, 4 hour, 15 minutes. And then, okay, I look at what happened and what I could have, taken into consideration. And also, let's not forget that, fundamental analysis is also something that is super important that needs to be taken into consideration. When you have economic news, when you have stuff like that, like on every Thursday, I love Thursdays because there's the unemployment claims news every single Thursday, and I love it because depending on what's happening during the week, well, then I can maybe create a bias, and if I have my confirmation, then I can enter that trade. So that's something I like to do, and you'll see that when you back test every single time the same way. Like Dueno said, you'll start to see your eyes will be trained. Me too. Like right now, like I can do everything like with my eyes closed, and I can still like at that point that would be something where I would buy, and then I do my analysis, and then boom, I would buy there. Because after 4 years, that's something you guys need to understand. I've been doing it for 4 years. Dueno too. Stopwatch. I don't know how long you've been trading. I'm not sure, but maybe more than 6 months. Definitely more than 6 months. So at some point, you guys, the difference between me, Dueno, Stop John, Aina, and everybody else, the difference between us and you guys is that we've been doing it for a few years, and that's it takes time. You see the glory. Like if you follow me on Instagram, you guys see me at my condo, in the pool, at the gym in my condo, but you don't see all the hours I've put in. You don't see the sleepless night I've had back testing, and that's what you need to do. Do it, repetition. And at some point, like Dueno said, like stopwatch, you'll see some patterns, you'll see some stuff and you're going to be able to act on them. And journaling also, I know that Dueno said it, journaling is super important. If you don't know why you're answering and you're just answering because you want to answer, that's a mistake. Okay, I'm answering because this and this and that, because fundamentally this happens, so it correlates with what I'm doing right now. So that's something also that you need to be able to do. You need to be able to journal what you're doing, and at least maybe not journal, but just know, like write it, like write it on a piece of paper. Write it on a piece of paper. I'm answering that trade because this and this and that. So the probabilities in my heart where that it's going to be, I would take a long position right here just because that's what the market was showing me. So that's what I would do. Hopefully it makes sense. I feel like I've talked a lot, so I'm gonna stop it right there, just to not confuse anybody. But that's my process behind backtesting.
No, that was totally amazing, because it literally was like a bridge, what you just said, to, my next question. Because you brought something up very important, which is a fundamental, side of things. We're all very technical traders, right? Like I personally, I don't necessarily use indicators to, do my analysis, right? But there's some economic indicators, right, that, do project some certain economic data that we need to know, right, every single week, right, depending on what week it is. Like this week, we have a lot of news. We have a lot of red folders. And if you don't know, you need to already know. Like this, you cannot come into a Monday without knowing what's going to happen every day of the week on a fundamental, side of things. Make sense? Like we're going to see lots of volatility, activity. And so how do you guys get prepared for a week like this? What do you do? What do you not do, right, too, as well, to like protect your account? Because the first thing is protecting, your own account. But second of all, being smart, right? Being smart in your decisions, not, being impulsive either, because, this type of weeks are the weeks where, if you just make one mistake, I'm not saying that you can, but you can make mistakes. But if you make a mistake and you're not aware of the mistake you're making, it can affect you in a certain way, your account, where, you can start having some crazy thoughts. So, yeah, I mean, what are some things that you guys can tell, everybody here about that? Like, how do you guys get prepared? Because staying ahead of the game too is being prepared for days like, the ones that we're going to have this week, where I'm telling you guys right now, I don't know if you guys have seen, but it's a lot of news, and all those news are literally, they come into being like created because of economic indicators that are, showing the health of the economy and everything like that. So, I mean, what do you guys have to say on that? Whoever wants to go first.
I think I'll quickly just, mine is going to be very short and sweet. And I think this is something that you guys can take. And yes, what Coach Anna said, if you want to go into the week not knowing what to expect, like you're setting yourself up for failure, right? You cannot get to learn that there's news after the events happen, right? Like I already know tomorrow is CPI, the day after PPI, the day after FOMC. Like I already know all these things are going to happen this week, right? And what I want to add is we cannot predict what is going to happen. We have to react to what is happening. And that is a very key element to taking fundamentals and adding it to our technical analysis. Never ever predict that the economy is going to boom, or the dollar is going to rise, or the dollar is going to weaken. We cannot predict these things. It's merely impossible, because there's manipulation, there's all of these different factors that take part. And if you're going to throw yourself into the deep end with all the sharks, you're going to get eaten alive, like 100%. I've been there. I've blown accounts. I've tried to master the sense of predicting what the dollar is going to do, and all these things that we have to go through, the growing pains. And yes, you might get lucky and you might hit 1 or 2 or 3, but where's success in trading? It is being consistent, and there's no consistency in predicting the market. We have to react to what the market does, and I think that's what I wanted to add on that.
That's beautiful. Honestly, we can't, like, literally, like Donna said, we can't do those stuff, guys, because like we're not magicians to magically think that the market is going to do what we expect it to do. Just because the technical analysis is aligning doesn't mean that the fundamental, right, side of it is going to align with the technical too. So we have to really just wait to see what the market gives us, because the market is always right, and that's something that we have to accept. Like, everything can be aligning perfectly for a buy, but that moment that news comes out, the market goes to the floor, and there was no way of you determining that. Like, it's just what happens when we have news, right? So again, be very careful, guys. Something that, a quick advice I can give you before I pass it on to Stopwatch and Jeff is, I personally, I think about the market this way: pre-news market, during news market, post-news market. The market, you're going to see it move in a very peculiar way before, during, and after. And oftentimes, if you are already a trader that you know how to trade news, congratulations. I personally, that gives me anxiety, headaches, frustration. I don't need that. If I'm going to trade with those emotions, I'm going to stay out of the market, right? And what I do is I wait after market, after news happens, settle. I wait for price action to, settle down as well. And I then, decide my next move, if there is a next move. So that's something I personally do when it comes down to news, along with what Duano said. So Stopwatch, what do you do, right, when there is a lot of economic activity throughout the week? How do you get prepared for your weekend? What do you do?
So because I trade binary, I like to think that I trade binary and I also trade short time frames. So oftentimes the news doesn't impact me I mean, let me choose how I phrase that correctly. So if I was trading like 15-minute trades, 5-minute trades, maybe even, I'd probably be more strenuous of the news. Um, I just like to know what's going on. Like, I like to know what's going on, so that way I know what pairs will most likely react funny, right? But I don't let it impact my trading a little bit too much, because I think for me it comes down to, because I come in with a plan. The moment that there's something funny going on with my plan, I just tend to just stop. I'm not like forcing it much. So that's probably one. That's actually my main one. And then I agree with what Duano said. It's just understanding what's gonna be there, so that way I can plan for it. And what else? I had something else I wanted to say, and I just completely forgot. Yeah, I had like one more thing. I don't remember what it was. So, yeah, nah, I don't remember. But pretty much, yeah, because I know, because realistically, the second thing I like to do is, it happened well when Russia invaded Ukraine. I made it so for whatever reason, I was looking at my charts, and I remember that right when it happened, I was looking at, because I used to trade USD ruble. I used to trade it a lot. And so I remember I was looking, and it was in a reversal zone on my strategy. But because the news had dropped, and then they were talking about sanctions, and they were talking about a whole bunch of other stuff, and I kept telling myself, I was like, if I see one candle go into reversal, I'm taking it, and I'm just gonna keep milking that spot. And when I tell you that that was probably my best binary like hour I've ever had, because it just fell, right. It tanked, and I was just taking advantage of it. That's the only way. Binary is different, because your trades are distance based. You guys gotta let the news is gonna impact it a little more. With me, 3 minutes, if the news happened already, it's not really gonna kill me. You know what I'm saying? And if it happened before, I'm not really. The only time where it will impact my trades is if I take a trade right now and the news hit right now and the impact's happening right now. Other than that, I'm a little safe.
No, Stopwatch here is convincing me to go back trading binary. Oh my goodness.
No,
You look
it's
so relaxed.
yeah, I'll be chilling, man. If you get, it's funny because on my sessions, when I'm on my sessions, I spend a lot of time. I probably spend no time like I don't have. It's just like you guys says in the last question. Like, I can look at areas and go, all right, well, there's a reversal here. So like when it comes to binary, nothing changes my approach. Is that not the news, not anything. I just look at it for what it is. I take the information, the external fundamental information, I keep it in mind. And if I see something weird, I'm not gonna take it. It goes back to what you said about preserving accounts. I believe that if you don't know the next move, then there is no move. And so oftentimes people want to force a trade when they think something's happening. And I don't think things are happening. I see things happening. And so I
Oh,
take what I see, not what I think is. And that's kind of how I play with the news and stuff.
we can wrap up the call right here. Guys, I hope you guys took notes on everything that was just spoken, because this right here is really where this is like the gold mine of this call. Like right here, that was the best advice that you guys could have ever received. And Jeff, what do you have to say about, news and the impact and everything? I know you spoke a little bit about it, on your last question, but if you can dive in a little bit, more into it, that would be great.
Man, again, what can I say after this amazing fire that's been said by Stopwatch? What I personally do, okay, so every Sunday, me and my girlfriend, we sit down and we look at the events happening, because my girlfriend trades too. She's been following you and I, and she's in love with you, and she's doing amazing. So every single Sunday we sit down, we look at I look at Forex Factory. Okay, we have an economic calendars in Akashics, but I've been using the Forex Factory one for so long that I prefer to use this one. Okay, so I look at what is happening, and every single day, and that is a little gold nugget, okay, that I'm gonna give you guys, okay, and that's been given to me by a 8-figure trader. He's like my original mentor. He's the one that wanted me to start, that made me want to start trading. So if you go, I'm gonna send it in the chat. And again, this is not financial advice. This is nothing to be taken as I'm like disclaimer here. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just something that I do and that I use. This is not like the only way you're gonna need to trade right now. So this is just something that I like to add. If you go on forexlive.com/session wraps, every single day, every single sessions, there's financial analyst that takes all the data that is happening during the day. So if you have a CPI or PPI or anything, they take everything that is happening during the day and they wrap up what happened during the sessions. And that way, when you read every single headline, it can help you, make just create a little more, maybe a bit of a more. I sent it in the wrong place. Sorry, forexlive.com/session wraps. Okay, so it helps you when you read it every day for a few days and a few weeks and a few months. It can help you create a bigger bias for your fundamental analysis. So that's something that I like to do. So every single day I like to read just quickly and go over the session wraps, what happened and everything. And that's something that I've been doing for since I started. That's something that my original mentor still do to this day, and he's made 8 figures income in the industry. And if you guys would just see at what he's doing, it's crazy. So that's what I like to do. And it's important to understand that yes, technical analysis is like can help you create have even more confirmation. But when you start trading higher time frames, it's important to know what is going on in the economy. What is happening? Is the dollar healthy? Is the euro healthy? Who has more strengths and stuff like that? And I feel like that's something that is important to do, and that's what I do. I read my session wraps every day. Then I go for Forex Factory every Sunday. And when there's a news that is happening, I personally, unless it's the unemployment claim on Thursday, I personally stay away from the market when there's huge news. Why? And that's something that I'm not afraid to say. I have anxiety when there's news, and it makes me there's emotion that gets added into my analysis, and that's something that I don't like. I want to trade like a robot, but when there's something that is happening, I create myself scenarios that are not there, even though I know that it's not gonna happen that way. And I mean, I just don't like to get in front of the chart when it's happening, unless it's the unemployment claim, which I usually get it right with my analysis. So I don't like it. I try it sometime, but every time I try to trade the news, usually I get humbled. So yeah, this is
it's
it.
true. It's true.
So
I mean, I'm
just
gonna
to
add something
quickly,
to what you said.
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna add something to what you said, because I'm not afraid to say it either. Like I just said it literally like 5 minutes before. I'm not going to put myself in an environment, because that's putting yourself in an environment where you're feeling all those emotions. And guys, when you're feeling an emotion of anxiety, fear, like stress or any type of those, like you don't even want to look at the charts. Like you don't even want to go into the market, because something that Stopwatch said, like we all want to somehow force a trade. Like don't force a trade, attract your trade, right? That's always what I say. You attract your trade. And you know, how do you do that? Just wait, just be patient, just wait for the setup to come to you. And if there's no setup for today, that's it. Moving forward, tomorrow's going to be another opportunity, 24 hours of price action again. That's going on. You can find another opportunity. You don't have to trade every day. That's a myth. That's a lie. And if you believe it, then you are literally in you fell for the lies of the masses, because you don't have to trade every day to be a successful trader. I know traders. I met a trader. I don't know if I've told you guys. I think I said it on the last traders inner circle that I was speaking. I met he's a owner of a hedge fund, literally flying back from Costa Rica to Puerto Rico, and he doesn't trade every day, like at all. Like he has people that he has taught how to trade that take 1 to 2 positions a month. Now that's not my case because I'm not a swing trader, but you see what I'm saying? Like there's just so many different perspectives, so many different, ways to do this. And at the end of the day, guys, we all just recommend you finding what works best for you, but you have to stay on top of the game. You have to stay ahead of the game as well. Like on top by everything that we just discussed, make sure to obviously look at what's happening. Apply what just Wayno said with the news. Like that's what you got to know. You don't have to know exactly what percentage, what this and that. No, just understand what you have in front of you, and that's it. And you act on it. And if you feel some type of way, hey, stay away from it, right? For example, Brent is on this call. He loves to trade news. He loves to trade opening bell. I get heart attacks on opening bell. Like I don't like it. So I stay away from it. So guys, this was just a great call. And I want to just talk one last thing before we wrap up, because somebody asked in the chat, like, what is our intake on the AI? And one last question I actually wanted to take is, I know people that they have indicators and stuff like that, like we mentioned before, that, they obviously utilize to trade. I don't utilize indicators to trade. Nothing against indicators. It's just not my style of trading, right? But we are approaching an era where we already are in that era, but more or less, like we're approaching times where technology is going to be every conversation. Like technology is going to be any conversation. And in the past, I'm gonna be honest, guys, I used to have a lot to say, not very nice on bots and all this stuff, on all this technology arising, because I didn't know about it. And what I knew and what I had seen didn't work. Makes sense? Like that was me in the past. Like it was like too good to be true. I didn't believe on it. And plus what I had seen, it was not good at all, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But my views with what we have right now, it is a healthy, like exploding chance for you to not just focus on mastering the game, but also have passive income coming in. Obviously, I'm talking more for the international team, for the international individuals that are not on the US right now, because we're going to have something for the US individuals. But this is a way of leveraging technology. What are your intakes, guys, on leveraging technology? And we can wrap up the call after, that. But what is your intake on technology, on the AIs, on what we have on, coming for your cashes? Because that bot that we have, guys, for gold is crazy. And you have total control of it. It's an algorithm trade. You can turn it on, turn it off, which that's something I do like. And at the end of the day, guys, a bot is emotionless. A human being is not. Like you can try and turn off your emotions. If you do that, let me know, because I'll learn from you, because there's no way, no matter how emotional, intelligent I am, I cannot turn on my emotions. That's part of the human being, like me, right? But a bot doesn't have emotion, will never have emotions, right? So what do you guys' intake on that? And then from there, we can definitely wrap up. Not all at the same time.
Okay, now one wants to talk, now everyone wants to talk. You want to go? Let's
Yeah,
go.
I'll go real quick. Me personally, when it comes to bots, I was very similar to you. I was against it. I used to say that it was for lazy people, right? Now over the I want to say I would be a liar if I say over the last year or so, but over the last, I want to say 3 to 4 months, I have seen the potential to bots and how it can be life changing to some people. Um, what we're working on is it has me excited to see how many lives it'll impact, because I'm seeing the results and I'm seeing some of the things that some of the results that some of you guys have been getting with it, and I think it's really really good. I just the only thing I'll say about bots is I'll say this, it's the same thing with everything, right? Just because it's good doesn't mean just don't become dependent on it, right? Like I think that being able to be a trader will still be the ideal route, but having a bot that can confirm your biases or even just become a supplemental tool when you're not wanting to be the one trading, I think is amazing. And what we're working on will probably be a better. Remember how we said earlier? I don't know what we said earlier. I forgot. Some people probably forgot already. 99% of people suck. The bot is better than 99% of people. So that's all I need to say, right? Like if bot is better than 99% of people, I'll just trust the bot, right? So yeah, that's my opinion on it. I think it's good. I think that adaptation is part of growth, right? Things are going to come out. So at first you might not understand it, but once you do understand it, implementing it into making your life a easier, more value-filled life is ultimately the goal. So why not, right? I support it. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. I think we need to understand that it's happening around us, whether you like it or not, right? It's taking effect. We can see it with the stuff already happening with ChatGPT, with everything happening. It's part of the evolution, right? And like Coach Anna said, why do 99% of traders fail? Because of the emotion that comes to money, right? We as humans are emotional beings. We are driven by emotion. And the moment you want to master that or not, that is when you start making really good money and having a lot of success. AIs, they just do what they've been told to do. They don't care about this, they don't care about that. They just understand one thing and they understand what they were programmed to do. But I do agree with what Stopwatch Jones says, do not become complacent to that. Do not completely rely on just that. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. We've all always heard that. If you have the knowledge and if you have the skill to trade, no one can take that away from you. Doesn't matter how bad the market conditions, doesn't matter how bad the economy, that is a skill that you can take with you for the rest of your life. So use AI in a way that elevates your trading and not complace or replace your trading and what you've learned in the market. Don't stop educating yourself. Don't stop trading, backtesting, growing and putting the work into yourself because you have something doing it for you.
I'll go and I just like many people here just said, I wasn't really fond of bots. I've heard horror stories about bots, and sometimes a bot can work, and and then you get complacent, you get comfortable with the bot, and then I mean the day if let's say there's a problem with like the coding or something like that, and your bot just slips up, and boom, there's something that happens. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, a bot it has no emotion and stuff, but you still need to be able to do it yourself. Because the day you're going to get comfortable with what you're doing is the day that you're going to get humble. Is the day that you're not going to get maybe the result that you want. The only reason, and that's I'm always going to say the truth. And the only reason I love the bot that we are getting out is because Josh backed it. And you guys need to understand that Josh has been has created My Daily Choices 8 years ago. So he wouldn't put out something that would jeopardize the company. And once I saw the results and with the drawdowns, all the parameters and stuff, I was like, okay, this is a game changer. This is something that I haven't seen before. So now I'm gonna get interested in it. So now I started learning about AI, about the bots and the whole word, and now I'm using ChatGPT. I mean, just, let's just talk about ChatGPT for a second. I use like once you see me, if you guys go to the view, if you see me and if you meet me, I'm not the skinniest person in the world. Okay, I weigh 250 pounds. I just got back into training, but a few years ago, I used to do Spartan races. If you guys remember the very first inner circle, I talked about that. And I used to run half marathons, and I was in shape before. And I was like, okay, let's try what ChatGPT has to offer. And I asked ChatGPT based on different parameters, build me a training program, and he did, and it was basically the same thing as I used to do before. So when you realize that right now, before it was crypto, before it was the tech bubble, before it was this, before it was that, now it's AI, now it's bots. And when you create something that has that is backed by your CEO, your own CEO has put his own money in it, you get secured. When you know that stuff like ChatGPT can come out and be better than even humans when it comes to creating training programs and stuff like that, you start to get more comfortable with what it is. So I feel like now is the time to get into it. And if you're still wondering about what a bot is and what it is, just go do your own research. And when you see the results that we have and see the people that are backing this bot, you'll see why more and more people are comfortable with it.
100%.
And my fault. He said ChatGPT, and I was thinking one of the bigger things that people are going to notice is a lot of people get intimidated by bots. And so I think that when you look at it as a tool, just like ChatGPT is a tool, right? I'll give you an example. A copywriter. A copywriter is only threatened by ChatGPT if he doesn't know how to use ChatGPT. But if a copywriter were to use ChatGPT, his life becomes exponentially easier. Now he gets more work done in less time. And it's the same thing, right? It's a tool that we just got to learn how to implement into our everyday lives so that way it can make our process a lot easier. And so I agree with Jeff. That was a great example. ChatGPT. I use it every day.
Guys, I really like this is literally not the future, like this is happening right now. Like the technology that we have access to nowadays it's ridiculous. Like I really believe that if we're not aware, like if we don't switch our awareness to like what this can do, like we can become dependent on it. Like I really think that a lot of people are going to become dependent on it. And how can I put this in the right words? A lot of people are going to become very lazy, and it's the truth because of what's happening. Like a lot of people are going to be able to make the best of the best essays, the best of the best this, like they're going to be able to do so much because of the technology. But if we're aware of what the technology serves us for, and we also, like are prepared, because guys, just think about it, without technology, who you are, what type of trader you are, like how much success do you have? So like, that's why I would never become dependent on something. I'll leverage it. Leveraging and dependent is two completely different things. I'll leverage it because if it's making me more money, then amazing. But I'm still going to master, and I'm still going to focus on mastering, perfecting my craft, because that's what's going to literally pay me until the day that I die. Is the truth, right? So like, that's my personal opinion on everything besides what I said at the beginning. And guys, this was a great call. It was a little different, right? Because we're usually, talking about mindset and psychology. And today was like a tough conversation, but we had it, and it amazes me what we were able to do today here together. And again, I was grateful for the opportunity of hosting this call. It was my first one, so I was like kind of nervous and everything. But with that being said, guys, I truly appreciate you guys' time. Like, you go above and beyond for your students in the community, and we're so grateful for all of you guys, for real.
Thanks for hosting us, guys.
So,
thank you so much. It's always
Right.
great sharing the room with like-minded people.
Facts.
Even if we're in a different part of the world, because I'm in Puerto Rico, Jeff is in Canada, you're in South Africa, and you're in Florida. So we're in different sides of the world, but right here together.
Crazy.
So that's what counts. So appreciate you guys.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see. We'll
Thank
talk.
you
I'll
guys
talk
for
to you guys.
everything.
Have a great
Bye,
day,
guys.
everybody.
See you guys on the next one, next
Take
Monday.
care, everyone.